UFC 169. Sorry,
Shut up.
it's the last time I get to.
You know what, Kev? Do me a favor.
Huh.
Talk to people because I just ordered food and it's here. So
Are you shitting me? Is it really?
Hello?
Oh, God. you.
Are you downstairs right now?
He's not joking.
Okay, I'll be right back.
We couldn't have planned this worse. Go get your food. I'm going to tell the listeners about Lulu.
Oh, I wanted to hear this story too. No. Kevin, stall the podcast. Wait.
Okay, stopping.
The number you have dialed has been changed. The new number is...
Well, just let me know when you're... It sounds like you're getting all situated. You got it? Just so you don't leave people hanging, what'd you order?
I got Mongolian beef, Chinese food.
Oh, fuck you. God damn
Why?
it.
Why?
That sounds
what's wrong with
amazing.
that? It is.
It's 11:30 here, and I can't go carbon out
Okay,
like that.
can we?
at
Oh,
11:30.
no. You brought this up, so let's be fucking real about this then. Okay. When we record these podcasts, yeah, it sucks because Kevin has to stay up late. Wah, Kevin. But you know what happens to Raph? Raph doesn't get to eat at a normal person's time. So cut to me getting off of work, sneaking in my food, and so today, yeah, I needed food to operate so that I don't become a giant asshole during the podcast, or at least bigger one than you're used to.
So I got reviewed on Lulu, and for those that don't know what Lulu is, Raph, it's an app where women can anonymously review past sexual or dating partners.
Uh-oh.
Women, known the world over for being the most emotionally rational gender, should, without question, not have this power. They called me... First of all, they gave me an 8.2 out of 10. I have always been a B student.
Inaccurate.
So, you never know. But, in addition, it said I was kinky in the right ways, which I don't know what that means, but it kind of sounds like how I would describe Brooklyn Nine-Nine, or like Californication. They probably mean kinky in the more little... we don't even know if I slept with them. So, they also said, though, and here's where it loses its legitimacy to me, Raph, that I had wandering...
Aside from the fact that it's a website where people rank how sexual the other person is in bed. Okay.
Yeah, obviously, aside from that, yes.
Okay.
It said I had wandering eyes.
Do you?
Well, no way during sex. There's no way that's what they meant. That sounds like an indictment on me as like someone you're in a relationship with. So I thought it was an unfair claim.
What went through your mind when someone told you were on Lulu?
I was just so mad. I was outraged. I kind of have like feminism jealousy, so I wanted to be more outraged. But then the review was pretty good, so that toned down my...
And once you were able to see that review, you were able to objectify yourself, so congratulations.
Yeah, but I'm still wildly against it. And frankly, there's just no limitations. Like, anyone can review anyone and prank anyone, or get your name wrong. Like, come on, there's not a lot of security there. Not what we're talking about on tonight's podcast.
Not at all. Let's move past this because no one wants to hear any more about your sex life.
I don't. That's for damn sure. It is UFC 169 time. Let's talk about what an amazing fight card this was. And you know why?
Why?
Tough 17. Tough 17.
What about it?
I hit the parlay, Raph.
Okay.
That should count for 9 million things. And we're going to reveal who won the bet because I don't remember. You're going to reveal at the end of this analysis who won the John Evans me bet. So we'll wait for that. And let's lead off the card by me telling you about Iaquinta. Al Iaquinta. I didn't see the UFC Fight Pass prelim. Sorry. I watched a little bit of the Magny and Hester highlights and just moved on.
You're so bad at this.
Iaquinta is getting trained by Weidman's team. Looking great. Looking very good. as a matter of fact. He was just rejuvenated, more calculated, very, very aggressive, and changed up his striking in a tremendous way. So I was impressed. We'll move on to Catone Watson, and I'm going to tout my own Twitter horn here, Raph. I got retweeted by J.O. Sports Company because I have the same shorts as Catone.
I did see that. I was very proud of you in trying to
see?
secure new gear.
Thank you. I was also impressed with that. But did you see that I hashtagged it twinsies when I was talking about how we had the same shorts?
If you are asking if I saw it, the answer is yes. If you are also following up that question with, did you wince when you saw it? Yes, I did. Because I go, God damn it, this is what happens when I'm not on the Twitter. And
There
I
was
can't
a lot
delete
of
it.
There was a lot of hashtag Raph's not here. There was a good chunk of that.
And you know what the stupidest part about that is? You hashtagged each word in Raph's not here. Not one word, like a continuous hashtag you could do. It was just Raph hashtag his
Dude,
hashtag.
not let me around vodka when I'm doing these things. Chris Carriazo versus Danny Martinez. Not a very, an okay fight, but not as good as the Catone Watson, which Catone won. Watson just kept coming forward. So Carriazo kind of got drowned out because McDessie versus Patrick is the fight I want to talk about. You know about John McDessie, I assume. He trains out there with TriStar. He's one of the, the Canadians. Tough motherfucker. Alan Patrick. Do you know that name? Did you know who Alan Patrick was before these fights?
I do.
I did not. Somehow he completely slipped through my... I don't know. So I had not even thought about him as like a person. So anyway, he was crazy. Sorry, my phone's going... Siri's trying to get me to engage in things, and I'm not going to let her interrupt this conversation we're having, Raph.
Kevin, focus.
I'm trying.
Don't look at the
Alan
shiny
Patrick
things.
just beat him up, but this was, in my opinion, fight of the night. I thought it was the coolest fight. They were going crazy at each other, and Patrick kept trying to take him down, and McDessie is a violent little warrior, as I called him. He looks like someone that needs to drop down a weight class, but he was amazing. It was a great fight. Varner gets beat up by Trujillo. Raph, I said you do not want to vote against a guy that has a fence tattooed, a chain link fence tattooed across his shoulder. You don't ever bet against that person. Mm-hmm. Did you get a chance to see this fight or any of the fights I'm talking about?
Okay, I didn't get to see any of them, and I'll tell you why.
I'm sorry, wait, what? Could you underline that a little louder? I'm eating Mongolian beef.
First of all, I hear your jealousy, and I accept it because it's delicious. But it was... Okay, Kevin, you don't understand this. When you are in a Mexican family, sometimes, and by sometimes I mean every weekend, there is a birthday.
Are you insinuating that the Phillips-McCartney merger did not instill me with an adequate amount of Latino familial understanding?
Yes, especially growing up in the Kansas.
Yeah, fair.
I will tell you that the party I had to go to this Saturday was so Mexican. There was a bounce castle, and there was also catered tacos. Now, while I love the UFC, nothing beats catered tacos and a bounce castle. So I unfortunately had to let Kevin do all of the coverage on this one. And in all seriousness, Kevin did a very good job live tweeting his reactions to the fight. I was, dare I say, surprised to see him do so well.
That's fair. I was surprised myself. I was in it. I was in a zone. Sometimes you just hit that Twitter wave perfectly and you ride it.
Yes. It's even weirder when Kevin says, I was in a zone in a text back to me when I am complimenting him for said work, but we'll go past that. So I didn't get to see the fights. And the worst part is I know my family would probably order the fights with me, but I think when there's too many kids around, it's kind of hard when it's on the main TV if people aren't into that sort of thing. So I had to just take the mulligan. But
it's very difficult.
Yes. But I will say this. The one thing that worked in my advantage is Facebook sometimes has those friends who find those videos of the fights as they're happening. and sometimes post like a 10-second clip that shows you what happens. This happened to be one of the fights that ended up getting that 10-second clip, and for good reason, because it was a spectacular knockout.
It really was. And Abel Trujillo just looked like a man possessed. If he doesn't get DQ'd for knees, he's got a lot going on in the future. Lineker versus Bogatinov, winner via decision. Pretty. I mean, it was a fine fight. It was just Ali controlled the fight. He controlled the fight from start to finish, and it was one of those.
I'm gonna stop you right here, Kev.
Uh-oh.
Did something seem weird about this UFC? Did it seem like it broke the record for the most decisions ever at a UFC?
It did seem like it.
Because it did.
Like it did. Oh, interesting. That would also explain, by the way, the fucking event. And this is where I was kind of pissed at you at Twitter, because I'm like trying to tweet, and it's like 2:30 in the goddamn morning, and the fights are still going on. They were the fights that refused to end, and it's because of all these decisions. I actually didn't know that, though. It set a record?
Uh-huh.
That's funny.
10 decisions.
Well, the next one was... the next two are ridiculous. Alistair Overeem should have been able to knock out Frank Mir, and this fight was actually exactly the opposite of what I expected to see. Frank Mir had no control in the fight. Alistair Overeem was beating the hell out of him on just every ounce of their exchange was a vicious beating. Overeem looked huge and just tackled him, took him down. Every time he was in his guard, he was just beating the hell out of him. And that's pretty much what it looked like. Overeem almost submitted Frank Mir.
Wow.
Yeah, I want you to think about the change of events that would have to occur. And I'm using the word almost pretty delicately. But for Alistair Overeem, he also favored a tweet because our friend August Benassi was like, did either fighter earn their keep? It was like, yeah, Overeem did. Overeem looked fantastic. He really looked spectacular.
Now, that's not the tweet. That was amazing, by the way. I like that he responded to us. But the tweet that maybe got the most attention of the evening, how would you describe Frank Mir's forehead in that fight?
I would describe it as bleeding excessively.
Great. Now, how did you put that into words in a tweet?
I don't remember. I sent so many tweets.
So many?
I felt bad about this one. I did feel bad about the second one. The first one was kind of funny. But I just mentioned that he might need a tampon to stop the bleeding. That was all. I was just suggesting that a tampon might stop the bleeding and that his face or his forehead might be menstruating. Okay?
I'm Kevin Phillips, and I have no reason to believe why I should ever be ranked on Lulu. Weird.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, you hit me really in the stomach of the soul by bringing it full circle with the Lulu. And I was like, oh, maybe it's me. But it's not. I'm really not.
I would like to point out, though,
right.
I'm doing this all while eating. So, like, my game, I'm in the zone right now, Kev. I know what it feels like.
You are such a bastard. That's all I have to say about that fight, though. Overeem really, put a pounding on Frank Mir's forehead. Jose Aldo comes out, and he's Jose Aldo for the first 2.5, 3 rounds, and kind of into the fourth, and then just stopped. And it didn't look like he was tired. He just looked kind of bored. And Lamas was out. I mean, it was just, he got the shit kicked out of him for the first 3 rounds, and then somehow didn't get knocked out. And it was not as good a fight because of the way it ended. Am I being fair? Does the end of fights sometimes influence your perspective of the entire fight?
It depends, because sometimes a person really does such a great job in the 5th round and is just having their way where you go, I'm going to forgive them a round. At least they're trying to finish. Or sometimes somebody's not trying to finish and you just go, I'm over it. Someone got a 3rd round in this decision. Yep, you win, I think.
That's got to be it. That's got to be it, because in this one, like, Lamas came back a little bit in the last round, but not to make it a fight or change the decision. It would just be nice to see Jose Aldo do that finishing power. I don't know what the risk is. I don't know what the game plan's like. I just don't want to, you just don't want to see someone you love that's a knockout artist start putting the brakes on in these third rounds because they've won the fight already. That's the last thing you want to. That was my only fear with this one.
All right.
We're not there yet,
through.
but the hairs are up on the back of my neck with the GSP fear. That kind of fear.
Just stop it.
Okay.
Talk to me about the best stoppage you've ever seen in your life.
Barao versus Faber. Clear. It couldn't have been clearer. It was actually, to me, so, okay, you're probably alluding to some of my tweets that were like, Faber clearly wasn't defending himself. I would like to say I was very tired at the end of this, and I feel like I can relate to what Herb Dean did, which was make a slight mistake based on the situation, maybe not analyzing all of the facts. One of the big facts is that he asked Uriah Faber, and that was the best post-interview ever. Did you at least see the big faux pas that Joe Rogan made?
No, tell me about it, though.
Oh, I'll send you the clip, and I'm about to talk about it. But the fight ended very controversially. Herb Dean said Uriah Faber, he gave him the warning. I don't know how else you say that. He gave him the defend yourself. It looked like Uriah had gotten knocked out, maybe woken up, and then maybe TKO'd again, but he's on the ground. Barao's just hitting the side of his head. You see Faber give a thumbs up, and Herb Dean stops the fight. Is that accurate?
Yes.
From just an explanation perspective, when it happens, everyone's kind of understandable. In real time, it looked like Faber was done. He wasn't defending himself, and I stand by that. He was not defending himself. He wasn't getting hit in the face, but he also wasn't defending himself.
Get to the point where you defend yourself now.
Oh, it was just fast. I apologize. I think I was wrong. When I saw that he gave him the thumbs up, and in the end, Uriah Faber said this, and it changed my mind. He said, what was I supposed to do, stand up and say I'm okay? I had Renan Barão hitting me in the face. I gave a thumbs up. That's all I could do. He also was super classy about it and said, Herb Dean obviously had my best interest at heart, but he was wrong. So really great. But then Uriah kind of plugs another guy from Alpha Male as maybe the next person that should get a shot at Barão, because obviously it might not be him. And Joe Rogan goes, oh, what about Mendez? And Faber's like, oh, yeah, well, wait, that's a different weight class. That's a weight class up. And Joe Rogan goes, oh, yeah, I'm retarded. Just right into the mic. Or, I'm sorry, I'm a retard. That was it. Oh, I'm a retard. It was I'm retarded or I'm a retard. But he couldn't have said retard more directly into national television.
Wow.
Than he did. So, and it was just one of those like, Joe, that's you being a comedian, but that's not maybe the best word to use. And it's a fight crowd, but he did apologize. I don't think he had to. I just thought it was funny that Faber was correcting Joe Rogan. Oh yeah, I'm retarded. It was a really funny exchange, especially to see Faber.
It's how out of it he was.
Yeah, it's like Faber's like, oh yeah, I clearly am the one that should have gotten removed from this fight. I'm doing Joe Rogan's job.
I'll say this. I saw that was one of those great things that somebody put it up, and I got to see the clip of the knockout, quote unquote. The hardest part for me was when you have someone who's giving the thumbs up, and I didn't know if Herb didn't see it, but like you said, Uriah was super classy in the post presser. He at least acknowledged it and was just kind of like, no, I mean, it was a bad call, but not too bad. You just do what you can in the cage. It's just what happens. Sometimes that sort of thing happens. Dana White comes out and is like, fucking Herb Dean. You've heard me say this, everybody. Like, one of the best fucking refs in all of MMA. He made a fucking huge mistake tonight. So Dana went off for about 10 minutes on this.
I cannot believe Dana would so quickly back out.
I know.
But I'm ready.
You're ready to know the results?
Whenever you'd like to, Rafa Esparza.
But hey, Kevin, I actually have a surprise for you.
These are never... Stop calling them surprises.
Well,
I guess they are surprising, but surprise has a positive connotation, and it's never positive.
This is great. This is the most positive kind of surprise that we do on this podcast. That's right. I have John Evans, May. aka Kevin's dog in the background, who's
that's my
asking.
dog barking
John
about a
Evans
fox
is back.
outside.
How are you doing, John?
I am doing fantastic. How are you gents doing?
Hi, John.
I am really excited to hear about who's the victor in this little bet that we had.
It's true. And for those who aren't in the know, John and Kevin played a game of Over Under Kevin, which is our betting odds game that we test Kevin's non-knowledge of fighting against people who probably know more things than him, including people like John Evans. And they went to battle on our last podcast trying to figure out who would get the most correct predictions for UFC 169. And there was a bet.
It was
Kevin,
vicious.
what was the bet?
The bet was, and I still don't exactly understand how to quantify it, like how to produce it, but the bet was that the loser had to change their Facebook profile to them dressed like Uriah Faber.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that was the bet for a week, for 7. Yeah. I'm going 7 days.
A week or 7 days? What is it?
Just a week. A week, yeah, is what it was.
Whichever one comes first.
Yeah.
You can not
fantastic.
sneak anything past Kevin Phillips, John Evans. Your trickery of what a week constitutes.
No, I'm on it. Well, there's a work week argument, but
sure, you could go work week, but
Wow.
you'd just be a giant wuss. But gentlemen, it is happening. So here's the thing. Before I reveal to you the results, because Kevin doesn't know how to keep score well enough, so he doesn't actually know who won.
I just haven't listened to it yet.
And
Yeah, I'd have to go
John,
back again.
if I'm recalling, did you actually watch the fights?
I did. I did watch the fight.
You did not.
No, I did.
Oh, you did?
I did watch the fight, yeah.
Okay, so do you have a general idea of how you did?
No, I actually totally forgot who I bet on. So this will be just as surprising to me.
This is amazing. You can't ask for two people to completely forget how much the stakes are online. But gentlemen, I can reveal to you the winner of this before we do any final words to each other.
I've never won, and it would be the sweetest piece of victory to cut out a piece of the John Evans perfection pie. I wouldn't even eat it. I just cover it with ice cream and throw it off my second floor balcony. That's how I would celebrate.
Wow.
John, any response to that?
Man, it's no, not really. I don't know what to say to that.
Okay. John, before I reveal,
Mine had a lot of levels. He was just trying to figure out if mine was an insult or a compliment, and he's not there yet.
John, before I reveal the result to you, though, are you nervous? Do you feel confident that you beat him?
In life, yes. In this game,
Hey.
we'll see.
No need to take it further than just the game, John. Message received.
John apparently is the person who doesn't leave it all on the mat. He comes after you.
Nice.
When
He's
it's
like, well, from a
all
looks and talent perspective, Raph, I've already won.
unexpected.
Like, oh, okay.
I save a lot on the mat,
So the
I
gloves
can
are
have
off.
a bit extra.
Well, gents,
You
I
never
don't
know.
want to keep you in suspense any longer. I feel I've already made you wait.
Are you going to present one of us with a rose?
If one of you's lucky.
If only we were live in a studio together, then we'd nail that.
I am
Oh,
going to throw
no.
to our sponsors,
Beautiful.
Coca-Cola, and we're going to go to a commercial and come back in another 10 minutes.
And when we come back, Volkswagen will have taken us to an Amazon spot that's just reserved for you and me. Let's.
All right. I will redo the results.
Mm-hmm.
The results with 6 correct picks. Kevin Phillips.
Victory is sweet.
Except with
Mm-hmm.
6
Yes.
correct picks. Also, John Evans.
Oh no! This is worse than losing.
Gentlemen, here's what happened. We went down to tiebreakers. Do you know what happened on tiebreakers?
No, what counts as a tiebreaker?
With the submission, knockout, and fight of the night.
Oh,
Oh no!
God.
any wager to figure out who ended up taking it there?
I know even less about what I said for those than I do about the. I have a rough idea of the fighters I picked.
Okay.
I have no clue about how I finished on those.
Let me present on this. Kevin went with guessing real fights that he thought would be in the realm of.
Oh, that's right. That's right. John Evans just accidentally read the Fight
Evans
Pass fights.
just picked the first 3 fights on the Fight Pass in order.
Yeah. Yes.
But, gentlemen, I will tell you that the tiebreaker was ineffective, so the both of you tied, which means
I didn't get one of them right. Hold on. He just picked 3
My
fights.
my picks are every bit as accurate as your picks.
Yes. So, gentlemen,
Oh, that's
in
crushing.
regards to your bets, both of you now have to put up on your Facebooks a picture of you as Uriah Faber for, I'm sorry, Kevin, what's a week constitute?
Well, I feel like, hold on, I'm not 1,000% sure that's how it works.
It is exactly how it works.
Maybe we just both have to do it for like 3 days, like 3.5 days.
It's a week,
Wow.
Kevin. You talk to us
We'll
very
split
important
the week.
about a week.
he's throwing that out there because we're splitting the week in his
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good job, Matthew Matherton.
Thank you.
We could tell that Kevin worked very hard on that to grasp for any kind of logic here. But gentlemen, I would let you know this was maybe the most ridiculous version of this game that we did, in that none of you got remotely anything close to right on any of the blanks of the night, and mostly because there were only a couple actual like knockouts, quote unquote. So, gentlemen, I look forward to seeing your interpretation of Uriah Faber on both of your Facebook accounts this week.
Yeah, okay, let's come up with a day and a strategy. I say you have to do a 50-50. Both John and I are tech savvy enough to do this. Show the picture that you're deriving your interpretation from next to the photo, right? Do a 50-50. What's today? Tuesday. So by what do you think? Like Thursday at noon?
Thursday. Yeah, we can do Thursday at noon.
Thursday
Now-
at noon.
Since we didn't have a tiebreaker, I believe this gentleman will be the tiebreaker for the permanent record of who actually won this installment of Over Under Kevin.
Whoever does it better.
Yep, whoever gets
Okay,
the most
whoever
likes
goes the most likes.
The most likes.
or comments. I'll count comments as well.
Okay.
And they
Are
can't
we going
be
to tally
of
up
your own.
both?
Yes, I will be tallying up both.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
If only there were like a racial slur photo where he has that painted across his chest. I could get up to like 1,000 comments in a second.
You can just make it your own. Do that
Now-
yourself.
I'll just
I'm
put
very-
C-word across my chest and let people.
I would like to point out how not proud of you I am to both of you
First
on
of
this
all,
game.
hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 6 out of 12 ain't great. That means you might as well have just
500.
flipped a coin.
You could
Yeah,
have
if
flipped
this-
a coin.
if
We
this were
found this to
baseball,
be
we'd be
more
kicking
accurate
ass.
than you, Kevin.
Okay.
Consistently.
If only we were hitters.
I mean, Kevin, again, the real kick to the dick was you guys getting nothing right. And the worst part is, when we got to the submission, knockout, and fight of the night, I said, please let John Evans have won just based on picking a random fucking 3 beginning fights.
If one of them had just had a 6 submission, which is totally possible.
I was actually half expecting to win on one of those, just based on the fights that happened. They were not so great.
Yes, John, very quickly, did you have any like standout memories, impressions? Kevin and I just got done speaking a little bit about UFC 169. So what were your impressions, if you had any?
I don't know how much money Hinnon paid Herb Dean in that fight, but man, that paid off quite nicely for him. So
you think so? I wasn't clear originally as we discussed, but you think you're pretty good. You're saying you don't think you would have stopped it at all.
Oh no, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, he did give him a thumbs up, and Uriah was probably the best post-fight interview we've seen in 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's known for his durability. You know, he's just like one of those guys. He's kind of a tank. Like, we've seen him get knocked down a ton. I'm not saying that that's a great thing, but it's really hard to stop Uriah Faber. And knowing that, and knowing that these are basically the two best guys in the division, you kind of have to make sure that you know it's a distinct stoppage. You can't just jump in there for every hangnail, you know?
This was our big complaint, which was this is a championship fight. And that's how this is going to end.
Yeah,
I feel less robbed about this than I do the Hendricks GSP, but that's a whole different rant. I'm just...
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, that was... It was just, to your point, it was a championship fight, and Uriah is known for being able to take quite a bit of punishment and just keep going. And Hinnon was definitely winning, but you couldn't count him out of that yet. Unless you're Herb Dean, and then you count him out immediately. And that's the way that goes.
Well, I think that's a great assessment. John, on a more serious note, though, how do you feel being now evaluated at the same level as Kevin? He brought you down a level.
Welcome,
but, I mean, that's kind of his MO, though, you know? You could say that about anyone that's Kevin's near, so...
I'm a gateway friend.
Wait,
That's
what does
right.
that say about me, John? You do.
Fuck yeah. We're all in the circle now. That's right.
Kevin can't beat somebody. He just brings them down to his level and goes, yes.
Stirring my own little witch's brew of
that's
sadness.
basically a victory.
Yeah. How does it feel to be as good as me, John? How does that feel?
Oh, I'm happy to be as good as you, Kevin. Fantastic down here.
He's
really sad.
He's grinding glass in his hands for those that can't see him right now. He's just like, ah!
Our audience has no idea right now that John, in a couple minutes, is actually going to have to get off the line to go train jiu-jitsu. And there's going to be a strange feeling tonight if John doesn't do well at jiu-jitsu. He's going to be like, Kevin, it's happening.
Oh, God. That curse wasn't a
totally.
drunken joke. He was serious.
Yeah, it's the curse of Kevin Pass. I don't know. Yes, Kevin will haunt you. And that is 100% fact.
I will say this, John. You know, speaking of training, today John brought in the world's best assistant,
Certainly
BJJ
the world's
coach.
cutest.
Well, Kev, come on. That's a little
I try to be demeaning. It's just a cute.
sure. John, do you care to speak a little bit about this new secret weapon you brought into BJJ training?
I mean, just I had to bring in someone that was gonna help mobility and flexibility with my students. You know, someone that could put their leg behind their head, someone that's not afraid to just go full out and just run, you know, like if they need
balance. Great balance.
And so I did. I had to bring in the big guns, or, well, the not so big guns. I have my new little coaching assistant is Coco, my new terrier. And she's, you know, she's a little timid at first, but she was out there. I think she showed you guys what's up about the jiu-jitsu.
I learned a lot about licking myself, which I didn't know I could learn more about. But I'll tell you this, Kev, there's something that happens when John is, you know, Mr. All-American teaching you jiu-jitsu and like has the super great attitude, which is great. But then you add in the adorableness of a puppy, and suddenly training with him is just like, oh, come on, too much. Because there's just John. He's like, all right, guys, go ahead and drill that a few more times. And hold on, I'm going to play with this puppy now. Yay. It's just like, no, it's too cute.
I would like to send John off under complete protest that we both tied on the fights. And can I pitch my logic?
I guess. I don't really have a reason to stop you, but sure.
Tough 17 parlay hit.
No.
Magny,
Okay.
Hester, and Iaquinta all hit.
Try.
I
Here's the
called
thing.
that shit. No cute dog can get you out of this, Evans. Well, maybe. It's like the cutest. It's got like a purple. He's got a purple.
You haven't seen this
She's
dog.
got a purple harness. She's really cute. All right, let's get you the hell out of here so you can go train.
Yeah. So, John, thank you again. Where can people find you and potentially this new wonderful photo of you as Uriah Faber?
Yes.
Well, before you say it, John, I love your website, bjjbreakdown.com. I was on it just the other day. I even
were
checked
you?
out the YouTube channel at BJJ Breakdown. Found
Yes.
a lot of good commentary.
Yes, youtube.com/BJJ Breakdown for the YouTube videos. And you can also find me on Facebook under BJJ Breakdown as well, or you can hit up my personal Facebook if you'd like. You know, you can exchange numbers, set the mood, and just hit me up at John Evans on Facebook. I don't think I have the first Facebook with John Evans, so I might have to do some searching, but
Hell of a
I'm
pitch,
sure we have
John.
a mutual friend out there somewhere. And then you can send me some nudes.
BJJBreakdown.com is the website. Check him out. Thank you so much for swinging by the podcast just to gloat, John Evans.
Oh, thank you guys for having me. I look forward to seeing your best Uriah Faber, my friend.
Ditto. Ditto.
And may the best Uriah win.
That's right.
Awesome, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, John.
Just a reminder, if you like us, head on over to iTunes. Leave us a little review. 5 stars. If I'm throwing suggestions. 4.5's an option also. No, 5. Let's stick with 5. Hard 5. At Verbal Tapcast on Twitter. Like us on Facebook. Find us on YouTube. And thank you so much for listening. All right, Raph, this has been a lot of me. This podcast has been a lot of me, especially with the fights and my impeccable how the fuck do I miss all 3? Best submission. Anyway, I didn't even get remotely lucky with my fight guesses. How are you doing? How's training going?
Training's okay.
What do you say? You say it like that. You're using your BJJ training journal in conjunction with getting out to training. How's it going? Like you've been making it? What are you doing?
Okay. Am I using my honest voice right now?
I hope.
Okay. It's been hectic. The show's coming to an end, so I haven't been able to get out there as much as I like to.
Just say it. You've been slacking. Let's say it. You've been slacking.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, from BJJ Trading Journal, Amechi, how are you doing, our friend?
I'm
Hold on,
doing well,
wait.
but I can't say the same for Raph.
Hold on, wait. Okay, first of all, who patches Amechi in just randomly into our fucking podcast?
The BJJ gods.
Ugh.
They knew that it was going to be time to call you on your bullshit.
God.
So we have.
I was literally just on the Verbal Tap podcast. You're talking about how you're going to be training consistently using the journal. I mean, and you're putting me in a tough position here because you guys were so cool with me and showed me all this love and support, and now here I am having to get on you about actually getting your butt on the mat.
I will tell you. Okay, hold on. I have been on the mat. I'll start there.
Okay.
I've got nothing on this. I will tell you guys this.
Is that that's all I
That was
I
really
have
all I had
been
to say.
on a mat.
It's
I
true.
just want
have.
to note that for the record and retreat back into my BJJ-less hole that I have cowering into.
The worst part is this. There's nothing that makes me more excited than to going on that website and then putting in that I actually train that J, because it makes my average go up on your.
I mean, I appreciate that, but you understand that you're actually negatively affecting my stats, because instead of training, I'm on the podcast reminding you that you got to log that stuff. And you understand, if you're messing with my jiu-jitsu, you're messing with my emotions.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? Like, now I'm stuck doing solo drills on a heavy bag in my living room so I can say that I trained today.
And this is where we took a break because Raf's apartment lost power. So Amechi and I found out Raf's power went out, which I think is a really good chance for us to just talk about him behind his back and then surprise him with this podcast. No, let's talk a little bit about the website. My feedback is this. I absolutely am loving. I don't do much of the login on the mat times, but we'll get Raf back on and talk about it in a second. But I do like being able to just seeing moves lined up.
It's funny because I actually have had similar situations where, I don't know, man, just the more ways you ingest jiu-jitsu, the better, right? So
that's a good way to put it. That's actually a really good way to put it.
I just figure so many people learn different ways. And, you know, I've looked inside different books. I have it stuff on my phone. I'm watching it like any way I can. I mean, granted, I might be taking it to the extreme, but when it's fresh in your mind, the more you can use it in the academy. I mean, you got to keep it fresh. That's why it's good to train with different training partners. I don't know. It helps you open up your games.
And brief pause while Raf returns. Power back.
Every Asian I see.
Because,
choice.
That's perfect timing, because Amechi's just saying that we should be blaming the delicious spice foods of the Orient, which is a good time to get all three of us back on. Raf, you were saying you like the mat time, you like seeing how little you've trained this week.
Shut up. Okay. The thing is, I have been on the mats. The problem is
napping. There's a mat at the Tonight Show gym where he's been able to catch slumber.
No. I get out to train, and I will say I'm still above, I think, 3 times a week, so I'm very happy with that. I'd like it to be 4, so I'm really happy with that. The problem is this. I haven't had the time to do the follow-up to the article that I just wrote.
Which is doing well, by the way. Great job with that, by the way. It's awesome.
It is a really well-written article.
Yeah.
Thank you. I can only take so many compliments on
for an asshole. There you go.
There we go. I'm back.
Cruising back.
But the hard part is like, you know, we've chatted about this, and we like the app so much and what it does on the journal, so that I've gotten home and I haven't really gotten to do the extensive notes and go into that section. And so while I've been on the mats, I haven't gotten a chance to do the second article and the third article, because I think it's a cool series that we get to do. That's just kind of my perspective on it, and using the great technology that you have. So yeah, I get excited when I get up, go to the gym, and then update it on there, and it says like, you've been training for 3.65 times this month, and I'm like, yes.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's what gets measured gets done. Like, I was doing this nerdy year in review and looking at all these different spreadsheets and stuff I had going on last year, and I could see like, oh, wait a minute, I was really kicking ass in July. And it's like, oh, well, no wonder I was training like a madman. You know what I mean? It's like, everyone knows if you train more, you get better, right? But then when you look at the metrics, you're like, oh, yeah, like I need something to make me accountable. So, yeah, I like this.
I do love the fact that you have a month that you remember back. You're like, man, nothing beats July 12.
I remember, man, I was grinding, because with the job being all busy and working all the time, it's rare that I actually get to go really consistency for extended periods of time. And when I do, my game just increases. So it's exciting.
That is true. Now, speaking of that, Kevin's been using it as well. Kevin, what has been, good for you?
Yeah, and this is something we had sort of started to hint off air. I like to skip words. It's shorter.
God damn it.
Until I have to explain it.
Knocked out.
It's great work.
Power, and Kevin can't use any more English sentences anymore.
Yeah. Nouns and verbs just sort of get confused, so I skip one of them. I was telling him I really like the idea of, and he mentioned just consumption of jiu-jitsu. I'm able to visualize my game, and it actually spurred an idea. And let me run this little nugget by you guys. As I was reviewing curriculum, I was breaking it down into like the way you learn things. So I'm spending 2.5 months working just from my side control on the back, sort of figuring out half guard. And I'm listing all the moves I know, and I was just telling him it led me to a reverse baseball choke that Andrew does constantly, all the time. And I just never attack it, and I finally just wrote it down when he did it fucking again to me. Like 15, my black belt instructor that just always, it's like, oh, his guard is open. This is fantastic. Oh, God. Why? So I started to drill it, and that's the big standout to me is I can see my game. I will say, maybe a few more pictures that just promote my specific talents would be super helpful. So if it could send me like morning inspirational messages, Amechi, that would be awesome. So put that in the footnotes. What I'm going to do
is we're going to go to Know Your Meme. We're going to take the picture that you have of yourself on Skype, and we're going to send you inspirationals every day. I think that's
nice. Nice.
So Amichi's going to send you the accessories. I'm going to send you the opposite of that every evening. That's just like, Kevin, your ground game has more holes in it than a golf course. You know?
Remember that time that gi covered your face and you thought about quitting? That's every second. That would be the opposite of inspirational. So I'm enjoying it. I don't do the logging of the mat time. That's the one thing I have not participated in yet.
Yeah, and I think that's, we touched on that before. I mean, that's cool that's why I put more than just one thing in there, because not everyone's going to want to measure it. And I think it's cool. Like I mentioned before, it's cool seeing people use it in ways I hadn't even anticipated. I guess it's just organic, and I like it a lot.
Now, hey, Amechi, while we have you on here, we believe this is your first day sans job?
It is, yeah. So I resigned from my 9 to 5 to focus 100% exclusively on BJJ Training Journal. So talk about believing in what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
Scary as hell, exciting as hell. But, I've been doing all this stuff on nights and weekends. And now to actually be able to focus on this completely it's really exciting. So
now
living a dream.
Answer me this question, because this is your first day on your work schedule. You're your own boss now.
Yes.
How much of your time today was spent on YouTube just finding out random nonsense? Just like listening to your favorite pop songs?
Actually, I spent 20 minutes on YouTube.
Okay.
Outside of that, nothing, because I woke up at 7, got in a call with the programmers, and just started fixing all these things, trying to battle with Apple to get the app approved. Like all these, honestly, it was grinding all day. My first meal was just when I just finished this tasty PF Chang's that I've been.
Yeah, don't put a plug for them. They don't listen to us. They won't give you any free shit.
Is that? I was like, okay, that's the 5th time he's mentioned it. Maybe he has like a personal thing with PF Chang's where they're like, hey, Amechi eats for free, and here's why. He does a lot of podcasts and always gets you jonesing for some Mongolian barbecued chicken. It's great.
MSG, baby.
I'm definitely going to go back and look at bjjtrainingjournal.com and see how many PF Chang's mentions there is in the website.
Actually, if you spell BJJ Training Journal backwards, it says PF Chang's.
That's okay. Now you're starting to use Kevin logic, and that's just where I lose you. Amechi,
I was with him too, so he's right.
I know. Amechi, let me ask you this. This is your first day without work, and that's so great of you to spend it with us. We do appreciate it. But weren't you trying to be productive today? I don't know that talking with us is productive. I apologize for that.
Fair.
Your army of fanatical listeners.
Yes.
Anytime I can get, that giant, it's like the giant Persian army in 300. And anytime I can get them behind me, why wouldn't I, rap with you guys?
I can't tell you this right now, but I'm absolutely positive. Kevin, I know for sure his eyes lit up when you made a 300 reference.
I was just thinking about if I had my Xerxes costume within reach, I was going to grab it. Sorry, I stopped paying attention there because I was like, I could be dressed and in character in 7 minutes. And
Next Halloween. There you go.
Next Halloween.
We're only 9 months away.
I actually am a genius. I throw costume parties midway through the year. So it's I try and that couldn't matter less, by the way.
Yeah,
so
true.
Amici,
Serious question. Have you guys ever worn your jiu-jitsu gi for a Halloween costume?
I have not. I've worn it for a
on.
stage costume.
I will tell you this right now. I loaned my jiu-jitsu belt for a comedy sketch.
Wow.
And it was maybe 3 months into training, and the dude lost it.
Ah, that's cold.
And I had to go to train the next day. And, you can lose your belt and all that stuff. But I walked in and I go, guys, I lost my belt to a comedy sketch. Can anybody else relate? Right?
The record just stops. BJJTrainingJournal.com is the website. There is an app coming. You know it's great because Amici's pretty cool. He's a 6 to an 8 on a scale of 1 to 10.
How dare you, Kevin?
I'll take it.
6 to 8. I'm giving him range. I'm saying he doesn't always have to be on, but he has potential. He's a 9.
He's a shy 9, but it happens. I'll say this though, Amechi, what advice do you have to me right now, considering time is limited, but I'm about to come into some free time? What is your best training advice right now?
Well, as far as getting on the mat, I mean, I'm not trying to be super pluggy, but I actually wrote something that says finding time to train, because I think it comes down really to the priorities, right? Everyone says they don't have time, but everyone has time. It's the most successful person and the least successful person have the same amount of minutes in their day. It just comes down to priorities, and even though that the YouTube clip is fun to watch, you can watch an hour of cat videos every day. It's fun, but you feel a lot better after you've actually gone and trained. So big thing is just decisions.
Well, I dare you to find cat videos that are better. That's all I'm saying. But obviously, yes, I think it'll be nice to actually not just so much get back on the mats, but start putting some of those narratives into practice. And I look forward. I think we've been talking about doing something.
Yeah, we have some interesting things we want to flesh out. Definitely want to talk to you guys some more off air. And I think some really cool things we can do.
I think it might be fun, you guys.
Thank you.
Check him
I
out.
appreciate it.
BJJTrainingJournal.com. Thanks, Amici.
Yes, sir. Thanks.
It wouldn't be a podcast if we didn't now go nerd out on jiu-jitsu. With an up-and-coming jiu-jitsu superstar, James Puopolo. Raph, I'm really excited about this one. Thank you.
I think that both of us are excited for this just because what's that?
I'm giddy.
Well, calm down. We're going to talk to him, so be a normal human or you're going to scare him away.
Gotcha. Normal
All
human.
right.
On it. Verbal Tap fans, this is a big one. Raph, my compliments. We have on the line Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu superstar. I think that's the right term. I don't know what else to call you. James Puopolo. James, how are you doing this evening?
Good, guys. Really good. Happy to be here for sure.
We're stoked. Yes, I was obviously Googling you beforehand. I've been watching a lot of your fights over the last. He's done 5. He was at ADCC. Just been winning like crazy and being a constant champ on the circuit. So anyone that follows YouTube Jiu-Jitsu, as I call it, gets to see you pretty frequently. What's your year been like as you've transformed in sort of you've really stepped up and become a superstar in the sport. What's that like?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely still feel like I got a really long way to go as far as a lot of my goals in the gi, but definitely a nice end of the year. I just kind of made the transition to being a professional here in the last 6 months and really dedicating my life to the art. And, I definitely can feel, everything kind of coming together and that inertia behind what I'm doing. But I still feel like I'm figuring a lot of things out on the competition scene. But No-Gi Worlds was obviously big, kind of winning my first No-Gi World title doing medaling in the absolute and stuff. So kind of my first real breakthrough. But yeah, man, things are good. I have some of the best coaches in the world, Rafael Lovato Jr., Solo, and Shaji Ribeiro, guiding my training. I'm out here in Oregon, and I just feel like everything's set. So just training like a madman to get to the top. So.
It was kind of cool because when I talked to you, we touched on this back at 5, but some of our listeners may not know. You gave up teaching because you were teaching while competing. So
yeah.
you recently stopped teaching math, yeah?
Yep, I was teaching middle school math, and I was doing that for 4 years prior to making this change. So yeah, I'd pretty much always been either in school, either working on my undergrad or my master's, or working as a teacher while I was training also. So definitely been.
So do you find yourself missing teaching? Do you give like your students extra math problems at the BJJ school? Like,
yeah, I mean, I really love the job. It's definitely a profession that you hear mixed reviews about. I got to the point where I really started to enjoy it. The first couple of years were definitely the hardest thing I've ever done. My wife's a teacher, so kind of getting into the lifestyle of it. But it was just too much to be training and doing that. And anyone who teaches or knows a teacher, it's something where it's more than a regular full-time job. I mean, you're talking about a job and a half. And
yeah, I mean, you're obviously not getting paid for everything. Yeah, I always wondered if that's the case, that you maybe are, especially with, when you make that level step into that kind of competition that you're going into, I always wondered, do you just give, when you were teaching, your math classes, did you just give them proofs and algorithms and go like, yeah, look at this, I'm going to work on YouTube and see a new sweep this week?
No, yeah, I was definitely try to focus while I was there, but there are definitely days where I didn't have the most energy because I was training so much to try to go in there and be full blast, and really you got to give a lot of yourself to the kids, and by the end it was just like get to the summer and just really have to do a lot of relaxation. So I couldn't train at my fullest with all that going on. So it's definitely been a whole new ball game these last 6 months. So feeling really good about the future for sure.
I hope it's as amazing as I dream it is. A life where it's just about jiu-jitsu. That would be fantastic. I'm curious, nice. James, talk to me about your conditioning and training and how are you always in fight shape? I mean, it just seemed like running the span over the last 6 months, because Raf got to see you out at the 5 grappling event where you were competing in their round robin that was spectacular. It's on YouTube if people haven't seen it. It's a great 5 grappling event. How do you stay in shape and stay focused year round the way you're competing? And are you there right now? Do you take any breaks? What's your rotation like on the year?
Yeah, I try to stay in competition shape all the time. I think that's, I try to make that one of the biggest differentiators for me. Just not having my coaches with me all the time. I'm always trying to refine my technique, but I really, really try to push my conditioning as much as possible. And I have a really, really good strength and conditioning coach out here. So I work with him a couple times a week, a lot of different body weight exercises, kind of gymnastic stuff, a lot of pull-ups, different conditioning things with him. Actually, I just started doing Pilates, which might sound a little bit girly, but anyone who's doing
not a little bit, James. It's a lot girly, but go ahead.
That's all right. That's all right. I'm a real man, so I'm comfortable with it. But I'm telling you, if you guys do jiu-jitsu, Pilates, like it is definitely very, very synergistic with jiu-jitsu. So I'm doing that a couple times a week. I do yoga, lots of stretching, and then I really try to kill myself on the row machine a lot. I think if you're doing anything for conditioning, you got to be on the row machine. And then just lots of hard rounds. I don't spar, I spar a lot with my students, and I really try to push myself kind of more sprint mode. But yeah, I try to stay in as good a shape as possible. And really, I think recently I'm finding that nutrition is one of the biggest things for me. Everything goes right when I'm eating well. And especially, I'm really retooled my diet here in the last few months, and almost kind of right before Nogi Worlds. And I really feel like that was one of the biggest things that kind of helped me towards the end of the year. And I'm really, really try to be as strict as I can with my diet. And I think that's another huge piece of your conditioning. So, yeah, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to fight anyone in the world right now. You know, I love doing jiu-jitsu, and yeah, I'm definitely in shape, ready to go. So
very cool. I'm starting to feel just a little fat listening to it as he's talking about his rotation.
Yeah, I know. And the best part about that whole conversation is just in my brain, I dare a person to go up to you and say Pilates is girly.
Yeah, to your face, especially.
Yeah,
I'm not
like
even-
especially you know going up to you and being like, "Man, clearly Pilates doesn't work for for James here. Let's step back for a second, guys."
What's been the
yeah, I mean,
coolest?
it's good for your strength, it's good for your flexibility. Yeah, no doubt.
Very cool. What's been the coolest location you've traveled to competing?
That's been one of the best things about you know, this recent change and being able to travel, and I've really found a passion for it. I love seeing the world, and we went to China for ADCC. You know, it was a cool cultural experience. You know, and just really like kind of analyzing what you see on the news and stuff, and then the things that you hear in the media and people's perception of China, and then going over there. I don't know if it was like the most beautiful place for sure. It's pretty polluted, but this last trip to Europeans was really sick. My first real trip over there, Portugal, was really nice. So yeah, I definitely am enjoying traveling. I'm really hoping to make it to like Hawaii sometime this summer. Hopefully, maybe do some seminars. And I'm really looking forward to going to Brazil. I'm trying to make Brasileiro happen this year. So that's kind of my next major thing is I want to get Brasileiro. I want to go to Brazil.
Badass.
I hear your team has had good success there for some reason. So.
yeah. Rafael winning the first person winning the non-Brazilian winning the major absolute title. So I definitely love to go follow in his footsteps. So.
Most definitely. You know, tell us about, you know, your experience in working with Rafael. We've had him on the podcast. He basically gave us one of our best interviews that we've ever had, but you know, we got such a great sense of what his style and his work ethic must be. But as being someone who has studied under him, can you describe a little bit of what that experience is like?
Training with him, yeah, because I didn't come up under him necessarily. I just got my brown belt when I had switched over to Lovato, and you know, I'd done a seminar with him, and my friends who own the academy are under him, and we kind of met and went from there. But it was definitely a rude awakening when I first started training with him. Just his level of technique, you know, and he's definitely. I tell people this a lot. I think he's the hardest working person in BJJ as far as his work ethic on the mats and his conditioning. But also his business game and really the care that he has for his students and stuff. I mean, the guy just never stops working. I mean, that guy's up at 7 a.m. When you're out in Oklahoma and you follow him, 7 a.m. working on some business stuff, answering emails, then off to conditioning. You know, we're back. You know, he's doing more business stuff. We're talking about things. Back to training and teaching at night, and then you know, eat dinner and go to sleep and do it again. So he's definitely a grinder, and I've definitely taken a lot from that. And, you know, I definitely obviously believe that hard work will equal success. And, you know, I think that he's helped me a lot with my mental game and also my technique, you know, technically. And I'm just not even close to where I was, you know, 3 years ago when I first started going under him. So, yeah, he's really been a huge asset.
That's got to be. And tell me, what's the big difference you notice? Because you teach a lot. Jiu-jitsu. I mean, what's the big difference you see in your game when you start competing against people like Lovato? I'm sorry, training with them. Because I always see that. You hear a lot of black belts, especially good competitors, talk about how important it is to have that extra gear that brings out in competition with who you're sparring with. What's your insight on that? What makes it so much better, and what do you notice is the difference?
I mean, you just have to be so much more precise. You know, any sort of mistake you pay for, you know, and after I'll be out there and spend, you know, I'll try to do week-long trips. Or like for ADCC, I was out there for almost 2 weeks training and preparing, and just the sharpness, and you can really, like, I'll get back home and I'll know that I'll get away with things. There'll be certain situations like, oh, I would have got my guard passed if that was Rafael or if that was Shanji. And so, you know, definitely the speed is there, and making sure your grips are good. That was one of the biggest things of switching over to Ribeiro Jiu-Jitsu is really understanding gripping and how important having the right grip is, and not letting people inside your box, and really keeping your head clear and all that. And then the other thing is it's a lot more energy, you know, when you're working with someone who has that level of technique and conditioning. You know, every round is a really tough round, and so there's never really kind of like that downtime. Like ADCC camp, we were really training a lot. The last day, I think we ended up, it was the competition day, we did something like, we did four 10-minute rounds, 2 15-minute rounds, and we finished with a 20-minute round. So I had rolled with him for like almost an hour that day, you know, and it was just like.
I was about to say, I was like, I don't even think I do that in a month.
That's a lot of mat time.
Jesus.
Yeah, you know, so when we're training, we definitely train hard, you know, and Rafael, it's awesome to have him because he's kind of the mastermind, and it's nice for me because usually when I'm out here in Oregon, I have to plan all my own training and have to kind of push myself. So when I'm with him, it's easy because I just jump into training and I get to just kind of be a student and just all right, do this, okay, I'll do this, and I know it's going to make me better. So yeah, it's a step up in intensity for sure.
Very cool. So it's just, you know, I'm a blue belt, so it's probably somewhere a little bit more just what I noticed when rolling with anyone purple belt. Oh, that's why that grip was not working. That makes a lot of sense. It's cool to hear that, you know, even at your level, you still kind of see that in the difference with your training partners. That's very cool.
Definitely.
James, I really want to hear about the process that is the ADCC. Kevin and I will never touch this, so we're not even going to pretend as if we'll be at that level of it. So just describe what that process is like to someone who are civilians like us, because it looks like a super intense process to get involved in it, and then B, there's the actual act of competing.
Yeah, I definitely, you know, it's taken a while as far as getting my kind of mind wrapped around being on that level. The first time I've been twice. The first time was in 2011. I was still a brown belt when I won the West Coast trials, and I went out to England, and I think I was just totally overwhelmed by the situation. You know, I had trained with Rafael and Shanji before, but because of work, I was one of the last people to arrive. And when I got there, the first experience I had, I walked into the hotel, and Hickson walked right in front of me. And then, you know, I look over and everyone's eating breakfast. You know, you got Hodger sitting with Braulio, and Jacare's there, and Shanji and Rafael. And I mean, these are all guys that, you know, at that point I'd only been training for about 6 years. You know, and I'm looking at all these guys on YouTube, and I'm just like, you know, I don't fit into this. You know, I wasn't mentally prepared to do well, I don't think. Just there was a little bit of shock. It was more of a fan experience, almost like, wow, this is what the ADCC is like, because I had no, you know, my first goal in jiu-jitsu, I tell my students this, the first goal I had was to have a blue belt in 4 years, I remember. Because when I started, you know, I would just get thrashed so bad by some of these blue belts that I was like, man, it's going to take so long to get to that level that, you know, I hope in 4 years if I have a blue belt, I'm going to be really happy. You know, so to be at ADCC and ever, let alone in 6 years, I was, you know, it was a little bit surreal. You know, and then obviously these last 2 years since the first one, being able to train a lot more with Rafael, and I get my black belt and more time with Shanji and really upping my game. I felt really prepared. I had a camp, you know, for the first time before I went, and you know, I felt really prepared. The match, you know, I really do need to train a lot more heel hooks. It's not something that we're really known for in Ribeiro Association. So, and I think that's the biggest thing about ATT is, man, heel hooks are so important. I mean, if you watch those matches, everyone's getting heel hooks. And it's something that I was not really very comfortable with, and I'm really working a lot on. And so, I felt like, man, I was really controlling the match, but got caught in a heel hook. So, I'm really looking at 2015 as, really a time for me to go for that gold. So definitely really, really excited to get back. And they say it's going to be in Brazil, which is going to be sick. So.
Oh, I was just about to ask you if you've got to pick one, England or China.
Brazil.
Okay, yeah, that's a good answer. That's the best answer.
I mean, can I ask this while we're still on ADCC? Did you ever consider, people train at different altitudes to get adjusted to their climates? Did you not put enough smog into your system before going to China? Was that maybe an error in judgment? Because I don't know.
I remember actually hearing stuff about that before the Olympics, that they had some runners asking if they should try to run behind cars and get ready for that sort of stuff. But yeah, I mean, it was definitely the day before. Basically, I got there on a Wednesday, and it was kind of you hear the stories, but then to be there and to see the smog, I was like, wow, this is really kind of insane. I mean, you can't see you can kind of make the sun out of the smog, and it got worse each day. Until Friday, Rafael and I kind of took a trip, and we went to Tiananmen Square and Forbidden City and stuff. And we actually thought it was a lot closer to the hotel than it actually was. So we walked, and we were walking, and at one point, I mean, it was almost like you were tasting the smog. It was so thick, it was nuts. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm stronger from the experience though, with all the.
There you go. Yeah, stick with that. That's not bad.
I'll tell you this. Like, I live in Los Angeles, not a place known for its cleanest of all air. But
not even close.
No, but when I look at
Beijing was like, Los Angeles is a dream compared to Beijing.
And that's what I was about to say. I mean, every picture I see of Beijing, it looks like the kind of climate that Captain Planet would just get there and go, fuck this, and leave.
Yeah, it was nuts. It was nuts. Everyone out there, if you don't believe it, it's true. It's a filthy place for sure.
Let me transition us to Five Grappling. I'm curious not only just about your views on the change in format that Five Grappling presents. It's a round robin that's invitation, so they got some good black belts together for people that don't know, and they all fought each other. Talk to us about your experience with Five Grappling. What do you think about it?
I really like it. I think that they spent a lot of time thinking about the rules, and I really like how they tried to make a forum, and they got some of the top guys, some of the top black belts and people within the sport to talk about it and really ask the question of, what is going to give the best product to the consumer. And I really feel like those are guys, Dan and Ricardo and the guys behind Five are really trying to push the sport forward and take it mainstream, and they're really doing it for the right reasons. And so I really like the rules, and I think the fans really like the experience. I've heard a lot of people had really, really positive things, lots of positive reviews from the tournament, because I think there was a lot of action. And I think that's the biggest thing that disappoints me about a lot of the IBJJF matches is that, you watch them, and even as a black belt, sometimes it's kind of painful to watch, because, I love jiu-jitsu. I love to watch jiu-jitsu, but, some of the matches, they just get so boring, and you see people win on kind of this weird loophole technicalities, and it just doesn't sit right. And I think the fans are really thirsty to see people go out there and put it on the line and try to sub each other and see some really what jiu-jitsu can be. And I think Five is definitely on the way. And, as far as the professionalism, the professionalism was very, very clear to see. The matches were run on time. The maps looked great. They had, a lot of details, like the scoreboards were all four sides. You can see the scoring, and, I think that they're really on the right path. So I'm excited to see where that goes, because I really think they can be the guys that really take it to the next level. So we'll see, but I'm definitely behind them for sure.
What was the kind of feedback that you ended up getting about 5 because you were involved in some really awesome matches. I mean, if you do a Google search, and I don't know if you do this on yourself, but we, in doing research, will. Certain terms like beast match got described with the types of caliber of matches that you were involved with. So what was the feedback that you got?
Yeah, I think I I could tell that I gained some fans from that. I don't think a whole lot of, I think a lot of people within jiu-jitsu have kind of seen me come up at the lower belts and some of the successes that I've had. But, that was definitely a big event because it was so publicized. And so I think a lot of people, definitely were behind me. I really, the reason I do jiu-jitsu is because I love jiu-jitsu. And truthfully, I really love to go for the submission, and I want to see if my jiu-jitsu is the best. And I always, I train as hard as I can to try to do the best I can. And I really, really have the goal of trying to be the best I can possibly be and try to take it to the top of the sport. And I think people can identify with that, and I think that at 5, I don't think a whole lot, like I said, I don't think a whole lot of people knew who I was, but, I lost matches. But I fought my fight and, I got caught against Gary, which was unfortunate. And, against Jackson, the match, I got behind early and never really came back. But, obviously the match with Keenan, I think, good exchanges, exciting match that people want to see. So,
yeah.
If anything, I think, I want people to, if they think about me, they're like, man, that's a guy I want to see. I want to see what he's going to do. I want to see him out on the mat. I don't want people to think like, oh yeah, James Puopolo, he goes out there and he's going to try to hold someone and not really do anything and try to get a ref's decision or, try to win on some weird stuff that, there's guys out there doing, trying to hold someone at 50-50 or something. And it's like, I want to go out there and put it on the line, and that's just how it is, so.
I got news for you. Mission accomplished, my man. I mean, you had a match that I still think, and I told you this on that day, but I think the internet very much confirmed it. It was, the match between you and Keenan was so high caliber that people responded so well to it because they do see that sort of thing. So congrats, my man.
Thank you. I appreciate it for sure. And I'm excited to, this is just a taste. I really feel like I'm just getting started in the sport, which is kind of weird to say. But like I said, just being 100% focused on it, it's a whole new ball game. I'm super healthy, and I plan on doing this for the next 10, 15 years, no doubt. I want to be a fixture on the scene. So.
You already have quite a profile in BJJ Heroes, and I do feel like you're going to continue to get there. What are some highlights for 2014? What are some big goals?
Big goals for 2014. Really, I need to win my first major in the gi. That's definitely really high on my list. And I really, really want to make my first podium in the gi at a major tournament as well. So those are kind of the big goals. Obviously, putting it, the goal is to be ready to put it all on the line in June at the World Championships and try to go for those golds. So that's really where I'm focused. I'm really trying to channel everything to be at my absolute peak of my life in June and ready to really shock some people for sure. So that's the plan.
Very cool. We're stoked to see it. Best after party at any of the events? What of the jiu-jitsu tournaments? These are the important questions.
Yeah,
James.
and truthfully, I'm probably like the worst person to ask because I haven't really attended too many of them just because of work. I'm really like a lot of the tournaments that I've gone to, I've literally like flown in Friday night after work and then flown home Sunday night after the tournament. So, I'm definitely, I don't get too crazy. I'm married and I'm pretty, I'm pretty low key, but,
Sorry, James, you make us nervous. Anytime we hear someone say they're low key, that's normally when you're the craziest. You're the one that's throwing Keystone Lights at people in training.
Yeah, exactly.
That's usually.
Exactly.
James, like, you nailed it.
England
That's how
was
I do
crazy,
this.
The after party at ADCC was crazy for sure.
Oh yeah, you guys are all sort of trapped too, I assume.
Yeah. China, no one was really partying in China, but in England, people definitely were getting down for sure. They were having a good time. So that's probably the craziest one I've seen. I wasn't getting too crazy. Like I said, I was still kind of a brown belt. I wasn't, ready to just go out there and be like, hey, who's this guy going crazy, being sloppy. So 2015 though, in Brazil, that'll be a good one, right? So hopefully a victory party with with Shanji and Rafael and all the guys. So
that sounds badass. Sorry, he keeps naming just pioneers in jiu-jitsu. By the way, people we've been cheering for forever in the sport. As you're transitioning as a teacher, are you starting to have students that are competing as well?
Yeah, I'm actually there was kind of a local tournament this weekend, and my team did really, really well. I was really, really proud of my guys, and I'm just starting to get more guys. I have some guys headed down to the San Francisco Open this next weekend, and guys who are going to be hopefully heading to Pan Ams and Worlds, and so I'm really trying to definitely invest a lot in them, and hopefully I definitely take a lot of pride in the fact that jiu-jitsu is a very intellectual endeavor, and so I feel like having your students be really successful is a reflection of the intellectual, property that you and potential that you have, as a coach. And I think Rafael feels that way a lot. I definitely get that energy. When I'm competing, I want to show people, hey, my coaches are world class, and so.
Absolutely.
I definitely feel that as a coach now that I'm kind of getting my team going more as far as traveling to some of these bigger tournaments. Like, yeah, I want to see my guys not only smash locally. I want to see these guys, smashing people on the big scene. So, big new.
Sorry, that's about exactly what we expect. You hear that from Rafael all the time too, so it makes perfect sense. You could already hear you sort of getting excited about the students. Any big new moves you're going to try and introduce? Do we get to see any new games? I think this is jiu-jitsu. This has been lacking. So this is a chance for you to become like that guy.
In 2014?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really something where, I have some things that I'll be doing, and really I don't like to let the cat out of the bag, so you guys are just going to have to watch. Tell everyone to just keep an eye on whatever mat I'm on.
That won't be hard. Based off of what we've seen, people are definitely looking forward to seeing you compete more. And yeah, 5 Grappling was just a huge statement as to the type of octane of matches. And getting to see you at like the World Jiu-Jitsu Expo, there was a lot of good chances. So that was fun to watch live.
Nice.
You have some pretty great sponsors as well. Tell us about that. Your gis are always badass. You're over with Origins?
Yes, I'm with Origin. Yeah, definitely American-made gis. They're innovative as far as how they're cutting the gis. They just moved their operation fully to America. Even the weave, they're weaving their own fabric with American-made cotton in America by Americans. So it's kind of a cool thing, being their guy and kind of representing an American company within jiu-jitsu. And I really think that their quality is second to none. So yeah, they've been awesome. I'm really, really happy to be part of the team. And then I'm with Q5. They're hooking up the supplements. They have really, really good stuff. Good whey protein, and check them out. They have all sorts of supplements. Bill over there is running some really, really good products out. So definitely check them out. Other than that, if there's other people out there looking to sponsor me, I'm definitely I'm into it. So
we'll see what we can do. We'll put out some feels to some of our like brands. So you might be getting calls from Nas Energy Drink anytime soon here.
Nice. There you go. Yeah, try to pull some strings.
We'll use the full extent of the verbal podcast plethora. But one thing we do want to hear, for some people who don't know, tell us a little bit about your school as well, so that people, if they're in the Oregon area.
Yeah, I'm out here in Oregon. I'm running Salem Kaiser Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Academy here in Salem. So, yeah, my academy's grown big time. My wife's helping me out a bunch on the front end, and it's just a really, laid back environment. Really, it's a school that we just focus on jiu-jitsu and self-defense, kids. If you're looking to get into competition, if you're ever in Oregon, I don't know why you would be, but it's a cool place to come chill. Definitely stop by the academy. My website's www.skbjj.com, and then we have Facebook, like the academy and stuff. So yeah, I'm just doing that and just living the dream, man. Teaching people the best martial art on earth, and traveling and competing and getting better myself. There's really it's a dream.
Kev, I'll tell you this. This is how you know you're talking to a smart man. The first thank you on there was a shout out to his wife.
I know.
So that's how you know this is a smart man we are speaking to.
Oh yeah.
It's a strategy thing. It's a strategy thing. Ladies and gentlemen, James Puopolo, we cannot thank you enough for stopping by the podcast and letting us jiu-jitsu nerd out and ask you a lot of the questions from one of the real up-and-coming stars in the sport. So thank you so much for stopping by. Yeah, my pleasure. I always love to nerd out on jiu-jitsu myself. So, definitely appreciate the time. And, yeah, hopefully we can hook back up later on and talk about some big wins in 2014 for sure.
We will be the first people knocking on your door when you have any matches coming up, my man, because we're big proponents of the game you bring.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
Verbal Tap listeners, one more thanks, James Puopolo. Podcast. Rafa Esparza, what a podcast indeed, but all great things must eventually... Oh, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing?
I haven't eaten my fortune cookie yet.
Are you fucking kidding? How many times is Chinese food gonna enter into this podcast and interrupt? I can physically hear it. Okay, what's your fortune? Share it with us, please.
No, you don't. You have to eat the cookie first.
I actually subscribe to that same logic, so I can't fault you for doing that. I also do that. Not everybody does that. A lot of people brazenly throw the cookie aside.
But they're wrong.
They are wrong.
Why don't you start shout-outs, and I'll tell you the cookie after.
BJJ and MMA Academy out there in Chantilly, VA, giving you a week free.
What?
Just to come try it out. Yeah, Andrew's just saying, hey, come try the gym. That's how confident he is. We just got 4 new people this week. Always great. Love it when new people step by. BJJ and MMA Academy out in Chantilly, Virginia. Email Andrew. You can find him everywhere. Speaking of Andrew, bjjfinder.com, the world's premier jiu-jitsu school locator, big friend and supporter of the podcast. We cannot thank them enough for all they do. And check out No Concept Jiu-Jitsu out in Maryland under black belt John Marsh, and reveal what we call the shoulder of justice. Also, Kansas City BJJ, there is a blizzard right now in Kansas. There's a foot of snow falling, and there were like 15 people in a picture Jason Birch posted. It was like 5. But they're there training tonight. I also saw out in Manhattan, Kansas, Joe Wilk had a crew. So it's just, they're crazy people. They're animals.
Travis had the best note I saw go up, which was Snowmo Plata.
Yeah, I saw that too, yeah. Of course, Conley's there in his S10 that was built in the 90s by just... Oh, God, it's good stuff. So shout-outs to them and a lot of fun on Twitter. So shout-outs to all the people hanging out over at Twitter. It was a blast.
Good job, you.
Thank you. Shout-outs. Well, do you have your fortune ready?
I do. Are you ready to hear it? I'm going to read it. I haven't even looked at it. All right, let's do it. It says, soon, someone will make you very proud.
Ooh. That's such super helpful and specific fortune. Although
Also,
you don't hand out very proud very much.
no, never.
So
No,
that
so
could be
that's
crazy.
that's a lot on you, fortune cookie. And apparently my lucky numbers are 08, 15, 29, 31, 45, then a comma, 4.
0815 is also when my dog was born. So
Aw, that's
I know,
adorable. I just
right?
love that they threw one comma in those series of numbers.
I do like that too. There's a random comma.
That's so great. My shout outs, first and foremost, always to Valley Martial Arts Center.
The Ma-
There we go. Good lord.
You should see my face while I do it. I go into it. A method.
You go in the zone?
A method, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. First, we love training there. It's such great stuff. John always killing it with instruction. I will say I'm looking forward to having some time to go train there a little bit more. So very stoked for that. Big shout out to Nick Papadakis. He's one of our cool guys, elder statesmen there, who just he trains. He's a nice guy. At one point today, he just goes, "Hey," points at me, "Podcast, right?" I just looked at him and I go, yes, a podcast.
I do have a podcast.
He's like, "Yeah, I'm going to listen to that because you're all right." And I was like, "Cool. All right.
Hey,
I'll take all right any day.
Yeah.
That's better than the opposite."
I was going to say, all right is better than mildly disappointing. So.
Right. And once he hears the podcast, I'm sure he'll give me that review. But no, Nick's great people, great training partner. I hope he enjoys this. To all the other good people who train there, you guys are also awesome as well. Also, the BJJ Training Journal, please go use that. It is such a great resource for training. We also want to give a big shout out. If you guys haven't done this yet, please go support our friend Matt Kirtley and Marshall Carper with their Indiegogo campaign. It's for AC Open. It's really cool jiu-jitsu. It's a really great set of instructionals. They're so close. Their Indiegogo is about to end, and they're really close to their goal. So if you guys can just pitch in a few bucks to help those guys out, I know we're all going to reap the benefits of it.
Wait, I'm just thinking about, are you done? Is that all your shout-outs?
I guess if you're going to cut me off like that, but yeah.
Not on purpose. I was just going to say I was reflecting on the podcast and thinking about who we had on.
Yes.
We got to talk to John,
Yes.
Amechi, James, and this is like our Oprah podcast.
Why is that?
It's our favorite things!
God.
That'll do it for us here at Verbal Tap Podcast, where I'll be just talking like this and Raph might vomit, but that's how we shut it down. I'm Kevin. Thanks for listening.
Good night, and you get a car. You get
You
a car.
get a car. You get a Baron Bolo suite.
Everybody
You get a
gets a
journal.
car.